Ladies and gentlemen, long have I awaited for this day. Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. We are finally taking a look at the brand new Ultimate Gohan from Dragon Ball Super Hero in SH Figuarts form. I think this is easily the most anticipated figure of the year for me personally, and I think for most people in the Dragon Ball collecting community. Not just that, but the Dragon Ball community in general. I saw when this guy came out, people were going crazy. Obviously, we do not get Gohan figures too often. Now it's been a lot better because, of course, the superhero hype that we're riding off of right now. But, of course, Ultimate Gohan, and especially in the brand new movie outfit, right? This is a figure that everybody has been wanting to get their hands on, and I've been able to get one because the local shop that I caught my V-Jumps at, that I usually do my V-Jump videos through, they had them on the shelf, and I was able to get one to take a look at for y'all. So I am really excited about this. Let me show you all sides of the box here. Now, I will say the little bit of an unfortunate thing about this figure is that I do already know going into this that I am going to be, unfortunately, a little bit disappointed. Because with this figure, right, I know that it definitely doesn't look as good as the original production images sort of, how would I say, kind of led us to believe, I guess. Because unfortunately the face is definitely not as good as the box. But we'll obviously cop our boy out. And of course, then we will take a look at him and I'll show you that that's the case rather than just telling you. Ho-ho! Alright. So let me turn the light on here real quick as well. And let's go ahead and peel that off. By the way, gotta say, I know I talked about this on Piccolo's box, but I love the superhero lettering that they decided to not only add that at the end, but also make the boxes silver for this set. So cool. By the way, I'll pop a picture on the screen right now. Seeing all four of these guys on the shelf together was so satisfying. Again, I don't know if I'm going to be getting Goku and Vegeta. Maybe at some point in the future, but obviously Piccolo and Gohan were the priority. Now, these guys are over-the-counter releases, so you will be able to find these in local stores near you. They are around $35, $36, so definitely a pretty good price for a SH Figuarts figure. Oh, I'm so excited to take a look at this guy, bro. Ooh, okay, so here he is in all of his glory. Obviously, we have the plastic here, which, if you're unfamiliar, this basically tells you that this figure is legit. This is an official SH Figuarts figure because all of the official figures have this plastic jammed into the waist. Why they did that in the first place, why that was the move for making it look official, I don't know, but that is the move. Alright, so here we have the boy himself. Now, obviously, in terms of articulation, which we'll get into, there isn't really anything too crazy. It is kind of just your standard SH Figuarts figure. But of course, this is not only Ultimate Gohan, but this is also Gohan from the brand new movie, right? So let's take a look at the sculpt itself first. We have to talk about the face that it comes with. It definitely doesn't look as good as the box does. I think that that is an easy say, right? If we take a look at the box, this is supposed to be the same face as is on the box, right? We have the super serious face here, and I gotta say, I don't think even with tilting it down a little bit like this, I definitely don't think that those faces are exactly the same, if I do say so myself. Eyebrows are maybe like not as high as they are in the box, I think, and there's definitely a lot more forehead on the actual figure, which is a little bit unfortunate. I don't think that the figure's final forehead looks too bad, but it is just kind of not as close to the original. Also, hello, I just realized there was more in the box. We have a, excuse me, Gohan, before we take a look at you. Oh boy, premium Bandai ad. Just what I wanted to see. And also advertising all of the new stuff coming up, obviously with Gohan and Piccolo, and then of course the Namek Saga stuff, and of course the Fighters. I don't know why they call... Oh, well actually no, Kefla makes sense to be a Fighters one, because technically she was from that vote of the Fighters characters. We also have the instructions for Gohan, which, I mean, we know how to do this by this point, but, you know, I gotta show you everything in the box, because this is an unboxing video, of course. Alright, anyway, back to Gohan himself. So yeah, the face is, it's alright. It's definitely not the best face that I think that they could have gave him, but it's definitely not the worst, right? In terms of the hair sculpt, I think they actually did a really good job on this one. I really, really like the Ultimate Gohan hair that they gave him, right? I think looking at it all around, it looks really, really good. I think they did a pretty good job capturing that look from the movie. Speaking of which, I think the gi is very well done. Obviously, the purple color with the red obi belt looks really, really nice too. Of course, we got the Namekian 5s that my man is rocking, and these look really, really nice as well. I think they nailed it with the sculpting. And as well, the whole thing with this figure and this specific line is it's supposed to be a little bit more like the style of the movie in terms of like the CG and whatnot. And I think that they actually do a pretty good job of that here. I think this kind of sort of brings that to life. Obviously, it's not easy to do that sort of thing, right? But I think it looks pretty close to the movie. It's alright, right? I think they definitely did a very good job. From some angles, though, I will say this face does look really good. It's just from straight on, he looks a little bit goofy. Maybe his face is a little bit too small. Alright, so before we move into our accessories here, let's go ahead and take a look at my man's articulation. So, again, this is pretty standard in terms of SH Figuarts Dragon Ball figures. Obviously, the head rotates your full 360 degrees. Your arms can come out like this. They can twist 360 degrees. Obviously, for right here, we have a butterfly joint, right, which allows you to move that arm back and forth like that. It is interesting that they decided to do the sleeves this way, by the way, because sleeves usually don't look this good on Dragon Ball characters. If we take a look at, I have one for an example, actually. Funny enough, I was going to grab Goku, but actually the Piccolo from this same set will work just fine. If you hit the back of the butterfly joint, right, bam! Oh, yucky! Ew! And it doesn't actually cover up the entirety of the arm of the figure. To be fair, his butterfly joint is a lot more intense. But you understand my point, right? It doesn't actually cover up the entire arm of the figure, whereas with your boy Gohan here, right, they sort of sculpted it around the arm, which is really cool to see, because obviously I think that looks a lot better having an actual sleeve rather than that weird plastic piece that kind of feels unnatural. Obviously, the elbow can move as an elbow would. Of course, with the new 3.0 body, they have these joints looking better than ever, and not like you can, you know, kind of just see the joints. I mean, you kind of can, but it feels a little bit more natural and a little bit more updated than they used to. Of course, your hands can move around, right? In terms of leg articulation, you basically got the full range here. He can do the splits, which is great. Obviously, when a figure can do a splits, they are good in the leg department, right? He can kick up pretty far. He is unfortunately a little bit limited because, let me see if I can move the arm out of the way to show you this here. The little bit of plastic here that is sort of giving him that illusion of the pants, right? That little piece is not focusing. I apologize about that. But that little piece right there sort of gets in the way of the leg actually going to the proper spot that you want it to be in. But yeah, besides that, obviously to the side he's good, right? You can rotate the leg a full 360. Of course, the leg can kick really well, which is nice because, of course, when you are getting those kicking poses, you want that to look really good. And of course, because this is a 3.0 body, we can not only get that to extend really far. Look at how creased my man's leg is. Holy cow. It also looks a lot better because, of course, it's not this weird gapping. Obviously there, but that's, of course, kind of pushing the figure's joints to its limit. And even that doesn't look too bad, in my opinion, I think. But obviously, if you really wanted to fix that, you could just kind of and then it's, you know, one piece. So that looks cool. And then obviously when it's closed, it looks even better because it all looks like it's, you know, literally one piece, right? It looks like it's a full fluid piece of the leg there. The feet obviously move in a 360 as well. And of course with the toes, right, they also move up. I don't know why it's focusing on this one, but sure, you can move it up like that. And there is a little bit of actually pretty decent ankle pivot, if I do say so myself. Look at that. Bop, bop, bop. That doesn't look too bad in terms of the articulation. By the way, in terms of looking up, let's go ahead and get his arms in a little bit of a better position here, right? In terms of the ab crunch and the reverse ab crunch, that's pretty good for looking up, I think. Looking down, oh my... Okay, well, I guess the legs don't really count for this, but in terms of the actual ab crunch, obviously you can see that part where it sort of meshes together with the shirt there, right? So of course when you tilt them down, you can get that little bit of articulation there. But if you really want them to look down, yeah, he can literally do the Ginyu pose, bro. That R Ginyu in Dokkan. That is really funny. By the way, I suppose we should talk about this before we move on from the sculpt and of course the articulation. The butt on my man is a little bit weird. They've been kind of doing some modern figures like this, and I don't really know if I like this. I think I've seen better sculpted like backside of the legs before, because it's weird that it's just like this sort of flat plate almost, right? Rather than almost feeling like there should be something actually sculpted there. But I mean, it's not the worst thing, and obviously that's not really the part of the figure that you're going to be focused on anyway. All right. With all that being said, let's go ahead now and take a look at this figure's accessories. Starting us off, of course, is the face we sort of took a look at already, which is the standard angry face, sort of the type of look here. I still don't think that this is spot on. I think it could have been a little bit better for sure, a little bit closer to the box art as well, but I definitely don't think that it looks too bad overall. By the way, if you are copping this figure for yourself, I will say taking this guy's face off is a little bit different than it usually is, because you're kind of used to pulling at the front of the hair, but this time it is literally the entire front of his face that comes off, and then after that you can pull the face apart from the bottom actually, which is really interesting because usually figure faces are not like that, and then you can grab your spare face and you can stick it in from this side and then put it up in there like that. And now you can reconnect the faceplate to the figure. Unfortunately, that does mean you can't really share his faces with other Ultimate Gohan figures from the past, but that's alright. Obviously, they wanted to make it work with the current head sculpt that they had. Next up, we have the Screaming Head. This one is okay too. I think this one will work just fine for some action poses, right? I still think that it looks a little bit weird. I think especially with the little lines that they decided to put in there, like maybe over the eyebrows is okay, but the lines that they put next to his mouth almost makes him feel like he's an old man. To be honest with you, I would have much preferred if they would have just took those lines away and just kind of kept the figure's face without them and just had him scream. And finally, rounding out the heads, we have the gritting teeth face. Now, funny enough, I actually think this one is my favorite. I think I would like this head a lot more too, especially if his forehead wasn't so big. Again, I don't know why they decided to make this figure's forehead so ginormous, bro. But I definitely think that this is the best looking head, if I do have to say so myself. And which is kind of funny because usually with the gritting teeth faces, I'm not the biggest fan of them when it comes to SH Figuarts. So props to them. I think this one is actually really good. And in terms of having the little line near the mouth, they actually have it in a good place to sort of emphasize how intense his look is. So that's really cool. Now, I did want to mention this specifically in this part of the video because it is a little bit more relevant to the faces than it is the hands, which we're about to take a look at. Even though there are still some hands included in these accessories, I believe, there will be more faceplates coming up that will be included in the Gamma 1 and 2. If you guys have been following my channel, I actually made a video talking about the accessories and how ridiculous it is that you have to buy the Gamma 1 and 2 figures just to get the accessories for this figure. That is an entirely different topic, and you can check out that video if you would like to. However, I want to include this information in this review for the sake of you understanding that there are actually more options for heads and faces for this figure that you can get if you purchase those particular figures, especially, of course, the Super Saiyan head variant, and not to mention the glasses head variant with the cape. When I get that, that will probably be my go-to look for this figure. So I suppose the figure's faces not being the most spectacular or necessarily my favorite out of the SH Figuarts line isn't necessarily a big deal to me personally. But if you feel the faces aren't that great, you can always get these faces when they release with the Gamma 1 and 2. And even if you don't want to get the Gamma 1 and 2 altogether just to get the faces for Gohan, I'm sure you could look on eBay with people just selling the extra parts for Gohan and find them that way if you just want to get it for the sake of this figure. Moving on to hands, we of course have our standard fists with some actually pretty nicely detailed fingernails in there. We of course have your standard Dragon Ball Battle Ready pose hands, which I suppose could kind of double as some hands for some different techniques that Gohan can pull off. We have what us Dragon Ball fans, I suppose, would refer to as Kamehameha Hands, but these are pretty standard in most Dragon Ball releases. They're sort of just the closed a little bit finger hands. And last but not least, your standard Dragon Ball open palm hands. Again, a usual staple of most SH Figuarts Dragon Ball figures, and all of these hands make sense. As this is an over-counter release, there isn't anything too crazy in terms of the accessories overall. Your basic standard stuff that comes with most humanoid, and I guess in this case, Saiyan SH Figuarts figures. Now, for our size comparisons, of course, we'll bring in our usual two figures. These should make sense to most of you because obviously this is just a standard SH Figuarts figure, so this size makes sense to be about here. We have my man probably standing around 6 inches, which is usually the SH Figuarts size. And yes, he is just about there at the 6-inch mark. He's a little bit taller than it because of his hair. You can see that on camera and even with the angle from off camera too. So, makes sense that he is around this height. Now, let's go ahead and compare him to some other SH Figuarts figures. Of course, first and foremost, you know that I had to bring the boy out. How could I not bring these two together? Oh, before I bring out anybody else, I just have to say, oh man, it is so good seeing these two finally next to each other. I've been waiting for that moment for so long. We have the Saiyan, a little bit dusty, Raised on Earth Goku, of course your standard base form SH Figuarts Goku figure. I wanted to see how this guy would look next to Gohan as well, because obviously you can get yourself the superhero movie Goku, but I think if you have this one, which is just sort of the gold standard SH Figuarts Goku, that is just fine too. And he is in the movie, so I can actually have a justification for bringing him out this time. We have Broly in the back here, which, of course, Broly is not with Gohan in the movie, but of course, he does feature in the part with Goku and Vegeta here. So, these all look really, really cool, if I do say so myself. Even though Piccolo and Gohan are definitely a little bit more in the superhero style, I think. I think all of these guys still fit together pretty well on the shelf. They all look very stylistically similar, which of course, they are all SH Figuarts figures, so it kind of makes sense that that is the case with all of these guys. I think obviously displaying this guy with Piccolo is going to be the move, because of course they're sort of meant to be together. How could they not be? And of course both being from the superhero line. But you can get lots of fantastic poses with these guys. I think even as just a version of Gohan just to have with Goku, right, to make a Sun Family set, or at least get a little bit closer to making one, this also works really, really well for that purpose. Obviously, the original Ultimate Gohan figure is very expensive now, and of course, in this particular gi, which is a little bit different than the one that it was similar to this in Z, but I think it's close enough that you could give it a pass and put it in a Z set, right? I think that also works really, really well for this purpose. These guys look so cool together. I am so happy to finally have this figure in hand. My final thoughts, is this the ultimate Gohan figure? I had to, I'm sorry. The ultimate Gohan figure of my dreams? No, I'm going to be honest with you. I really like this figure. I think it is very, very cool. It is a little bit unfortunate that, in my opinion, it doesn't look as good, especially with the face sculpts, as the original production images did. However, I am still very happy to own this figure, and I think overall it is a very fantastic piece, not just for any Gohan fan, but any Dragon Ball fan. The one thing that I think I would have really loved for them to include in this set, and I would have easily sacrificed one of the other heads, right? Which I understand throughout this movie he's more angry than he is happy, because of course most of the movie he's either getting bonked on the head by Piccolo or he's fighting the Red Ribbon Army, so it makes sense that they made him a little bit more angry. But it's interesting to me that for Piccolo, they decided to include a smiling head, while for Gohan, there are no smiling heads in here. That's the only unfortunate thing. So if you want to display this Piccolo with the smiling head, it's going to be a little bit weird seeing Gohan so angry next to him. You have to have these guys in battle poses. So I really wish one of the heads would have been exchanged for that. Maybe just the like regular standard angry head, because to be fair, that look for him is a lot more akin to when he first goes Gohan Beast, right? That look of just the like the little smile, or the, not even the smile, right? The little like kind of look, right? The determined, the sort of unflinching look. I sort of associate that face a little bit more with Gohan Beast. So it will be interesting to see when we eventually get SH Figuarts figures of Orange Piccolo and Gohan Beast, which you know they will in the future, if they include that face, because this one will feel really repetitive, and it would have been cool if they could have gave this guy a smiling head instead. But that is okay. I still like the figure as it is for sure. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really, really appreciate it. If you did enjoy, don't forget to like and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate the support. I really enjoy doing these figure videos, and I want to keep doing them for you guys as well. If you would like to support me even more, I do have a Patreon that is exclusively for the figure content, which can help me afford more figures in the future to take a look at for all of you. And if you would like to pick this guy up for yourself, well, it is actually a little bit difficult to recommend a place for you. I have a feeling that a lot of places will get this guy restocked eventually, but this was such a popular pre-order that the pre-order sold out, which usually does not happen for a over-the-counter release of a SH Figuarts figure. So he is a little bit hard to find. You might have to do a little bit of digging on the internet, but I have a feeling that eventually Amazon will get him back in stock, because if you look for him on eBay right now, he is super overpriced. Obviously, this is close to the release time of him here in the States when this video is being recorded and released. So, of course, you know, he's going to be overpriced through the moon, especially since the pre-orders are basically non-existent at this point. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I will catch you guys in the next one. Let me know what you think, of course, of this figure in the comment section below. And I will see you then. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.